Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a journey of a lifetime. What we're calling these last few episodes of the Doctor Who and Autism series, because it has been quite a journey. So some people, so today, some people have been on here already. Some people a few times. Some people maybe their only second time. But yeah, I'm going to leave it up to them to introduce yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through who's on my screen and then go and write my way. So don't worry that I'm just picking people that I don't know, like just willy-nilly. So it's basically who goes. So Alan, I'm going to start with you because you're first.
Hello, I've been on here a couple of times now. I met some of you guys through TikTok. That's how I got into this. Obviously, Doctor Who I've been a fan of since New Who, since 2005, and I've sort of really enjoyed talking about my experiences and talking about what I like. So,
Yeah, it's great to have you back again. Because you probably get tired of seeing me.
never.
Never. Well, thanks, Alan, once again. Chris, how you doing? How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Um, it's been a while since you've been on here, maybe a few months.
Yeah.
So would you mind just doing a little introduction of yourself again, like last time?
I'm Chris. I know Mason through college, and I've mainly watched Newer Who, 2005 onwards.
Okay. Yeah. So it's great to have you again. I know last time we spoke a lot about the history of Doctor Who and stuff. So we can talk about that again a little bit today. So it's great to have you back. Um, I, but before we introduce the next person, I'm just going to let a latecomer in, who's coming in right now.
Evening.
Good morning, Ryan.
Hello.
You doing all right?
Sorry, mate.
No problem. We're glad you turned up.
Yeah.
We're glad you turned up. But I'll come back to you in a minute, Ryan. But we're just doing the introducing kind of people stage, so you come out at the right time.
Yep.
But Robin, I'm going to go to you if you mind just introducing yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Robin, and I've only done, I've met Mason through a couple of the other YouTubers, Sez and Connor and alike, and I've been introduced to Doctor Who through the David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston era, recently starting to watch the classics, but yeah.
Yeah, because it was a fun conversation we had before, because you had a picture with Jodie, didn't you? So so I think a few people will be a bit jealous of that. So but yeah, it's great to have you back, Robin. For the next hour. So I'm glad that you chose to come back.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jack, welcome back. But I've lost count how many times you've been on here. But hello again.
This will be number 4, I think.
Number 4.
Feels like 400.
Yeah. Well, introduce yourself, Jack.
All right. For those who want to hear me for the 400th time or for the first time, depending on how many times you've seen this podcast, my name is Jack Minton. I'm an actor based in Hertfordshire. I'm autistic. I am recently going to make my professional debut in the Netflix original film I Used to Be Famous. And starring in that film was a woman who was in the season 4, episode 1. She was a guest star playing a doctor who gets killed by the Atmos car. And obviously I'm here to talk about Doctor Who once again. So
yeah.
yeah, that's my introduction.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Because but you can't say much more, can you, Jack? Because can you say anything more now? Because the trailer did an official date got released, so you can't really say anymore, can you, about that? Or can you?
I don't think it matters that much anymore because my contract said don't say anything until the things have been announced, but they've already been announced. So if you want me to tell everyone more, then I can.
Only if you don't. I don't want you to get in trouble for it, or
Right.
anything. But I don't know. Like it's kind of up to you, I guess.
Well, the person, this I can say because it's already been announced months ago, but the person who was in the Doctor Who film and who is starring in I Used to Be Famous is a woman called Eleanor Matsuura, and she played Jo Nikashima, which is a doctor that gets killed in the Atmos car in the first episode of season 4. And she also played a character in The Walking Dead, but for the life of me, I can't remember what character she played. But yeah, that's who I was referring to.
Yeah, she's, and you did a video, like you sent me a video. So I've known for a while, a bit longer than everyone, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's great. It's great that like we can talk about this now, Jack.
Yeah.
And maybe in a bit you can talk a little bit about like the actual Netflix series, a little bit what it might be about, a bit later on.
Yeah. Yeah, you know that response video that you made, but I couldn't get it to her because of those London trains got on strike. Well, I'm attending a preview of the film in central London in one of the cinemas over there, and she'll probably be there. So I think if she allows me, if she's not too busy or she's there, then I could probably send her the video that you made way back in November.
Yeah. Ask her to come on the podcast as well. So it'd be nice to talk to her. Anything for anyone who's been on Doctor Who, even a small cameo. Because the people in small cameos, like as you can see, Jack, look, kind of be a big star in the future, like Eleanor is now. So that's great. That's great. But well, thanks, Jack. We'll come back to all that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad you're back for your 4th time.
Yeah, and the longest intro.
Yeah, the longest intro. Yeah, the longest intro. Ryan, I think I've lost count with you too. How many times you've been on?
3, 4 times.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming back.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago till we did our last one, was it? It was about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, with everyone else that joined.
Yeah. Well,
it was fun.
Would you mind just introducing yourself for the for 3rd time?
Absolutely. All right. So for those who don't know me, I'm Ryan. I am also autistic. I cosplay the 9th Doctor, sometimes the 11th Doctor, my own original character, the Luminary Doctor, and the Clockwork Master, my OC character on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, like we talked about like the last episode we did, didn't we? Did like I think it was called the creation of characters, because it was called that because it literally is. You create your own characters and just acting them out.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a little bit about like your kind of characters, that what you do with them to everyone here?
Oh, you want me to like explain them?
Yeah. Explain a little
bit. Okay. Yeah. So, Clockwork Master is a character that I created on my own. I've created so many versions of the Master back then, and I was thinking, the Clockwork Master would be really, really great. So I think this one would be great. She's evil in a way, but she'll also kind of be good, I guess. Luminary Doctor is not actually mine. I'd say it's more of she was created by the one and only talented Robin J. Hopin. Shout out to him. He created the character, so I love that version of the Doctor. She's good too. She she hasn't met her past incarnations or future ones yet, but she's got lots of adventures ahead, and I cannot wait to share them with you.
Yeah, I can't wait because I think it's really good when people like make their own characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Alan, like I think last time we kind of spoke about like ADHD within Doctor Who as well, didn't we?
Yeah, obviously, my diagnosis is more heavily towards the ADHD than the autism, but they're both there. But obviously, I love the fact that you can pick the story up at any point. You don't have to sit and concentrate. Although I kind of did with Flux, but most Doctor Who stories, you literally can watch one episode, drop it at any time. You can jump across to another series. If you look at my watch history on BBC iPlayer, it will be all over the place, and I think it lends itself to that a lot. You don't have to follow the storyline as much. You know, you can just pick it up anywhere you feel like. And obviously, some of the great single episodes are standalone stories anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, I completely agree, and there's so much connected with like ADHD, like I'd say maybe especially Matt, like the 11th Doctor has quite a lot of ADHD in him, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think he was always active. He was always looking for the next adventure. I mean, all of the Doctor character generally is looking for adventure. But then you get that kind of conflict, which I relate to a lot, because obviously having both of the neurodivergencies, you've got a conflict, one who just wants peace and quiet and just to be left alone, and the other one that's seeking that adventure. And the different Doctors' iterations do that sort of thing, because obviously you look at 12th Doctor, and I think sometimes he just wanted the peace and to be left alone, and whereas about 13th, 11th, 10th were sometimes looking for that adventure. So you get that kind of feeling that there's a conflict there with them as well. So I think that's one of the reasons I relate to the character so much, because you've got the conflict, wanting an adventure, but also wanting to be left alone sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It makes like the Doctor like kind of connect to you like, as a person, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think. Robin, last time we spoke about kind of transgender in Doctor Who and kind of getting them more involved, didn't we? Like especially with Yasmin Finney, who's going to be kind of to play like a character called Rose in the 60th, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think that's a really good step forward for Doctor Who?
I think I mean we've had a lot of the diverse characters anyway. I think in the series, I think it'll just add to some of that positiveness that it's spreading for the diverse community. I think it's a good idea that they're doing. Whether it's going to confuse the storyline or not, I have no idea. But
who knows? Like, is like the character going to be a transgender character, but like shown as a transgender character in the show, or is it just going to be a transgender actor just acting as someone else in the show? So it's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very interesting stuff to see, and it's good to see like you've got that kind of diversity in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as well, from what I've seen across the series, is whenever any sort of diversity comes into the characters, it's not coming with it. Apart from on forums and chat areas, nobody in the actual show is like blowing a trumpet saying, "Look at this character, they're special." Look at this character, they're deaf, or something like that. They just enter the story and it happens. I was thinking of the which one is it? Sleep No More, isn't it? Where I can't remember now. I completely lost them all. I was thinking of there, or was it Under the Lake where there was a deaf character? I think it would have been one of the Under the Lake ones.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
And they didn't make them weak or a problem. They just were there and that they existed. And I think I hope to say the same with the Rose character, that they just are there and there's no sort of introduction almost. It's just that's the way it is, and we should accept that. That there are so many diverse characters in life. So yeah, I think it's always great.
Yeah, it is. It's really good, like they're doing more of that because and especially with like the casting of the new Doctor, as well, it kind of makes it very good that Doctor is kind of doing stuff like that. Yeah. Chris.
Yeah.
We talked about history, didn't we, last time?
Yeah.
Do you think like they should keep going forward with like more historic episodes?
I mean, you could definitely do like more serious ones in history, but you could also do some light-hearted ones, like because over history, human behavior has not changed that much. We still like back in Roman days, there was still like graffiti in Hadrian's Wall,
Yeah.
and Vikings were writing things like Sven was here.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
So, and then there's like funny small stories during like wars and that, where like my favorite one is during World War II, the Germans built a wooden airfield to trick us. But what we did is we knew it was fake, so what we did is we just flew one bomber over it and dropped one wooden bomb, and then just called it a day.
Dreadful.
Yeah. It's great when they do that in Doctor Who and like make it like really kind of real, like that stuff has actually happened. But do you think, as well, on the other hand, like episodes are good as well in the future, that stuff that hasn't happened yet?
Oh yeah, like as much as history's good, it's also great to look into like the future, like just the possibility, because in the past, in present day, we're all quite divided. So if you show like the future where we're all united and build towards something, that could inspire, because just something to look forward to.
Yeah. And like you've got maybe we've got flying cars in 10 years time or or something. Like,
People.
yeah, but you've got electric cars is kind of the thing now. So like, is there going to be in the future where you don't need a wheel anymore, that you just have that you have the pedal and like your mind kind of tells you where you've got to go, or something like that? It's very interesting kind of stuff.
I agree.
Yeah. I know Robin. You like we said about you meeting Jodie. Did you like? Do you want to share like that kind of experience? Like, oh,
Yeah, I can do. I also met Yaz on the same day. Because it was kind of their first cameo thing at a convention. It was at the London Comic Con, so it was very busy and very quick, but it was a good experience. I think Yaz's was a bit more time to speak to each other, but yeah.
yeah, because she's only the kind of, like she's not going to be as like I wouldn't say as popular, like just like more people of course want to go to the Doctor than Yaz, but it's good that you got to meet people from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Has anyone else here met anyone from Doctor Who?
Sadly, no.
No.
I've had a couple of chats with Colin Baker a couple of times. He's always good to speak to, and obviously Sylvester McCoy. And I've got photographs and so on. Paul McGann, saw recently. Although going back to sort of modern Who, at one of the last Comic Cons I was at, yeah, obviously Yaz was on, and don't know why we call her Yaz, even though that's not her real name, but the passion that she has for the show and the enthusiasm was great. It was great to sort of listen to what she had to say, and to talk about to do it forever kind of thing, and that was good to see. I haven't met any of the more recent doctors, but that would be nice.
Yeah,
I'm too stingy with my money.
Yes, I imagine it's very expensive going to these things.
I know a lot of the classic doctors are on the likes of Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Paul McGann, and there's another one, I can't remember his name, but they all seem to Sylvester McCoy, that was the other one. They all seem to attend cons together now, I've noticed.
Yeah,
they're all very good friends from what I gather, and they all sort of have a good bit of banter and that sort of thing, especially Colin and Sylvester.
I met Rory as well. He tends to do a lot of the smaller conventions, I think.
Just getting at some of my autographs that I've got. I've got Paul McGann, Colin Baker, and I've got Sophie Aldred and Sylvester McCoy there on one.
I've met Sophie. I've met Ace as well.
Yeah, she's lovely.
And also Penelope, who plays I've forgotten her. She's recently done the game with the Weeping Angels, the telephone game. I can't remember her.
Oh yeah,
character.
Osgood.
Yes, that's it.
Ingrid Oliver. Yeah,
She's awesome.
yeah. Like I remember when when you was having the lockdowns. On Instagram, she was doing these kind of lives, watching episodes. I think she was in on Doctor Who. So, that was good fun. Yeah, there's so many iconic characters out there, like in Doctor Who that you kind of maybe you want to meet, like you put someone on your list, but they are very hard. Like if you're going for maybe more the new Doctor Who's, that they'll be probably very hard compared to like the Common Bakers, the older ones, that are you got more chance of meeting because they're like you said, they're there quite a lot, going to different ones.
Would have loved to have met Bernard Cribbins before he passed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was...
He was actually in line in a couple I went to, but sadly was not able to go a couple of times. I think due to age, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've also met. I don't know if any of you have watched the spin-off of Doctor Who Class, but I met Ram in, and he was lovely as well. He didn't tend to have. It's a bit of a shame, really, because I don't know if it's just that it didn't really link with Doctor Who as such, but he didn't really have many fans, so it's a bit of a shame, really. But it was lovely.
Yeah, because I did watch Class, but it didn't. I guess it didn't have as much as a connection to Doctor Who as you would have maybe liked it to.
It's not watched it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Must catch up with that at some point. That and Sarah Jane Adventures, I've never watched that, I have to admit.
You
Same.
never watched it?
Never. Got catch up. It was see, because obviously it was more aimed at kids, and obviously I'm probably of an older generation than a lot of you guys, much older. So it was kind of not for me, if you know what I'm saying, when it was out. So Torchwood was more my thing at the time, so I never really sort of saw that it's for me. But now obviously I want to go back and catch up with it.
Of course. Yeah. It's like I think if I have a good memory, I did think I watched Sarah Jane growing up, but then when I was later, like I actually only watched Torchwood when the first lockdown was, so that's when I watched it. I didn't watch it because it went online with series 4, I think, or like the first few series of Doctor Who, Torchwood went in line with that?
I found Torchwood quite hard. I've just started watching it, but I found it quite hard to start off with. But I think once you go on, it's
You've got to connect with a new set of characters, haven't you? That's the thing with Torchwood.
yeah.
Obviously
Yeah.
you've got Jack in there, but then you've got to start from scratch with a team that you don't really know. So
Yeah.
have you caught up with all of them yet, or have you still got a few to go?
I've personally got a few more to go.
It
My-
gets very heavy towards the end. It's very emotional. So just be prepared. Just prepare yourself for that. So it can be a lot harder on the brain, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, luckily I've got a best friend that's very into Doctor Who as well, so he fills me in on a lot of things. But
Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine watching Torchwood when I was like growing up, because of like you say, Adam, how it kind of affects like your brain and that, because like it is very it gets you. The show does.
Emotionally draining sometimes. Not that Doctor Who isn't.
No,
No.
no.
Towards it. I'm not looking forward to this next one. I am in some ways, but I'm not looking forward. It's going to be hard work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like with like the regeneration, that's yet to come.
October. So,
Yeah. October. But I think it's a good time to finish the series, isn't it? In September. This will be going out September time because everyone will be sad come October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited for what's next, though, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. Very excited. It's gonna be exciting, but to see what happens and like within the 60th, within Jodie's last episode. But I don't know about you guys, with all these rumors, but whenever I hear a rumor, I don't believe it until it's actually officially announced.
mm,
Yeah. Because it is it's like when the Doctor's announced. You have like before the actual Doctor is announced, you have half a dozen candidates there thinking, "Oh look, you've got this person's gonna be Doctor," and then you've got this other person. And the next week's gonna be named the Doctor, and then it's none of them that was in the names.
mm. I think because obviously, like you're relating autism to Doctor Who as well. I had a question for people on my mind with the changes of the different doctors, how they actually cope, like with the. Because I know sometimes, like with my best mate, he struggled, especially with Jodie, like with the changes, getting used to each new doctor.
Yeah.
So I just wondered how others cope with that as well.
Does anyone want to answer, Robin?
Don't really mind the changes as long as they are actually good in the role as the Doctor.
Yeah.
I don't really care as much if the person looks different or is different gender or is black. Or whatever terminology you should use. I don't really care about like that as long as they're a good fit.
And it's a funny one because obviously the show is based on change.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost like it's we are programmed to accept it, and it is our little safe. We know that the concept will always stay the same, so we can allow that change. It's almost like it's a safe change. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that. That you kind of, yes, it can be quite emotional, and yes, you're going to take a while to get used to them, but you accept it because that is what Doctor Who is about. That's the point of the show, to have change all the time. So it's like that's our comfort show. We know what it's about, so we can allow that little bit of change in. Whereas when the change that happens in your life, a lot more traumatic and a lot more triggering because it is a disruption. But at least with Doctor Who, you're expecting change. I think that's what I'm trying to get across, but I don't know if anyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Chris, do you have anything to add?
Personally, I think the Doctor change is always good. It's good to get, well, everyone's representation, but it's more just the writing direction. You need the execution of the character, which is where sometimes it throws me off. And then eventually you get used to the way they act, and I find it a lot easier then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Do you agree, Ryan?
I do agree with that. Yeah. Like let's use Matt Smith for example. He was great, but it was hard for me to get used to him after David Tennant left. But during the Series 7 era, he actually grew on me more, and I actually liked him. And I was thinking, you know what? You're pretty cool. I like you.
Yeah. I agree because like I was really attached to David Tennant like growing up, and I didn't want him to go, and like that line what he said when he said that I don't want to go, it kind of affected me because I didn't want him to go too, so I'm like physically attached to this fictional character that's not real, but it upsets me, and then I'm not happy that like I know it's changed, but I didn't want the Doctor to change at that moment in time. But and then like
Yeah.
what you're saying, Ryan, is I agree. Like as soon as the 11th hour came along, I loved Matt, and it kind of went straight on from there. Like I didn't want it to happen, but it did. Like it's kind of stuff.
It did.
You kind of have to get used to this kind of stuff if you like Doctor Who, because
Yeah.
the Doctor it's always going to be Doctor, but it's going to change. Like
Exactly.
or maybe 6 years later there'll be another Doctor, or it's the same with companions, isn't it?
It
I
is.
was just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
I struggle a lot more with companions even. Because you just start to build that sort of rapport with them and think, oh yes, they're going to be great, and then they drop them. I mean, I think Bill was sad to leave. It was sad when Bill left, because that was an amazing sort of partnership with 12th Doctor. Having said that, going back to what we're saying about the Doctor leaving, my hardest one was Matt leaving, because I really connected with 11th Doctor, and obviously the whole, yes, he's got his regeneration cycle back. Yes, he's regenerated, because I didn't meet him going up to this, so I was experiencing it as it happened in that episode. And then when he regenerated back into himself, I was like, yes, he's staying. And then obviously, yeah, that sort of emotional roller coaster with that was quite a tough one, I thought. And I like a lot of people didn't warm to Peter Capaldi at first, but now he's one of my favourites because of his attitude, and I kind of relate to his grumpy attitude a lot. So I'm old.
Yeah, yeah. You. I think for a lot of us, when we saw Matt Smith regenerating, like first, you kind of thought, "This is it." He don't get a speech. He don't get any words. He just says, "Daleks, you have it," and then off he goes. But then he's back to himself, and then, like you say, Alan, you think, "Okay, we're not getting Peter Capaldi yet. Well, we're waiting maybe a bit longer." And then it happens as it did.
Yeah.
Which it's good because I didn't like you can see with Peter Capaldi, talking about Peter Capaldi, you can see within his first scene he sounds really different to later on what he actually sounds like as a Doctor,
Right.
which it's quite cool. It's quite cool to see that kind of stuff.
Just playing on that a little bit, and related to how we might feel ourselves. I don't know how many of us have discovered their neurodivergency later on in life. I know with myself, it's been the last few years, and I'm 42 this year, so it's almost like I'm in that place of, I know who I am as a person, like the Doctor does, but I don't in some respects, so I'm feeling my way around it. So for me, the past few years, rewatching the Doctor's first few scenes have actually been really helpful, because it's that whole finding yourself and understanding yourself a bit more with new information or new, like that kind of thing, really. So I think that's quite useful for especially late diagnosed autistics, who can relate to that. And I suppose even I mean, obviously, I recently came out as non-binary, and that kind of discovering of that part of myself that was always there, but I didn't quite understand it. That's another thing that we can sort of relate to in Doctor Who, because when the Doctor regenerates, they are literally finding out about themselves anew as a new person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of, I guess it helps you, doesn't it? Like find it helps us find out who we are, and it's great. Like Doctor Who helps so much, like with all that kind of stuff. It's kind of an escape. It's an escapism if you're down, but if you're trying to find out stuff, it can help that way. Although, like, the Doctor isn't known as to be autistic. The Doctor isn't known to have ADHD. Like that's not their kind of the way the show is seen. But if you're autistic yourself, or you know of it, or you have ADHD too, you can see that. Not just Doctor Who, it can be the other things too, like that you can see in different shows. But Doctor Who is very diverse and accepting to different things, and I think that will only continue into the future, and even more things that maybe we don't know about.
And like I've said I think, I don't know whether it was the last one or the one before I was on, that the Doctor finding their way in a human world as an alien is very much connected to how we are feeling like we are an alien, feeling like we are different to everyone else around us. So I think that's why we relate a lot, even though the Doctor's character may or may not be coded that way, they're still not human and they're still not typical. So we relate to that more because we're not typical, and it is there's so many instances where you look and go, yeah, I kind of relate. I would have acted that weird or that off, or people would have looked at me like I was strange or whatever. Because there are times the Doctor says something that's perfectly fine to them, and then everyone around looks at them because it's an awkward situation. And I think we can relate to that a lot, because where we put ourselves in a situation where it feels fine when we first say it, but then you see the looks around you and go, obviously that wasn't the right thing to say, but I don't know why. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's really good that it's like that, and because like even words, like a phrase or a word that you can think in Doctor Who, that kind of relates to us, and when it has that major impact, and I think that's why people watch the show. That's why people like it. It's because things that are said in the show you relate to yourself, and I think that's why it's got a so big audience. Like Dyspraxia, for example. I think we spoke about Dyspraxia, didn't we, Robin? I think in the episode we did.
Yeah, just also continuing from what Alan was saying with finding yourself as well. The funny story about how I found out I was autistic, because I'd never heard of it when I was in I never heard of it being died like on a different end of the spectrum. It was always the lower end of the spectrum when I was in school. So I met my best friend and I realized there's a higher end. And I was actually watching an episode of Doctor Who with my friend when I found out that I thought I was autistic, because of obviously relating to my best friend as well. And yeah, it was just funny how I was watching an episode of Doctor Who with my best friend, finding I might be autistic. So I just thought I'd mention that. But
yeah, do you remember the episode, or was that a bit long ago?
it was one of Peter. Oh, what was the one before after Matt?
Peter Capaldi.
That's the one. It was one of his episodes, and I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. So that kind of helped, like, you discover that you're autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the Peter characteristics are very autistic coded as well. Like the cards that Clara has to sort of read out or put in front of them to give them the right social cues as to what to do. I kind of relate to that as well. Sometimes I'm like, you're in a situation and everyone else seems to know the right thing to say or do, And okay. That classic one I was laughing about the other day is like when someone shows you a baby picture of their child, and they're so proud of it, and you're just like, well, it's a child. It's not impressive, and you've got to try and act as if, hang on a minute, I need and some cards to read off to go, yes, that is a wonderful child you have produced. Congratulations or something. So yeah, I agree with that on the Capaldi.
Yeah. I can see that in Peter Capaldi, like different, like you say, the card, it gives it away, like because I remember, I don't know anyone else who like at school, like you had like different cards with different things on them, and then you'd have them in your little group, and like it kind of brings up memories to that a little bit. Right, it's very interesting. Like at first, I didn't see it like in Peter really, but I think each Doctor has their own kind of traits of autism in a different way. Like of course Peter isn't as hyper as Matt, but they have differences like where they show that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think he was a very hard character to get into before you saw any of his traits anyway. I think he had some, whether it was the stories or not, I don't know, but it was something about him that was just very difficult to get into at first. But then he started to grow on me a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same. It was as soon as Matt left, I didn't want Matt to leave, like David. And then it took me a while. I didn't like the first episode. That wasn't a very good start. And then it goes on. That I didn't like it until the third series. I got used to him by then, and then of course when you get used to him, they go.
Exactly.
And it was very different. For example, Matt or David, like you might have got like them from the off. And then Peter's like then, and it might have been the same for Jodie as well. Like it might have been taken a bit used to. I don't know, because Jodie and Peter are very different, aren't they? But I can see Chris Wilkerson's character as the Doctor very similar in a ways to Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Grumpy old man type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think, and I mean, yes, you're always going to get people who whinge about characters, but if Jodie had come straight after Matt or David, she wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been so much a shock to the system to hardcore fans or whatever, because obviously there was that massive turn. So obviously from Matt to Pete, there was a massive character shift, and then from Peter to Jodie, it was back again like the opposite way. So I think some people were probably more taken aback by that. No, it's just a theory.
Yeah.
But then you've got these fans that whinge about anything. So
unfortunately, unfortunately, but I see very much like Jodie is very like Matt in the hyper way, and also a bit like David's Doctor as well. But it's funny, because the Doctors themselves, they don't try to be like another Doctor. They try to make the Doctor their own. But they can't help it, I guess, the way their Doctor is, to have a few similarities to another Doctor. So, but yeah, I exactly agree with what you're saying, Alan. I think it would be work. It would make sense if Jodie was maybe in between David and Matt, or after Matt.
People wouldn't have been as shocked, if you know what I'm saying, or
Yeah,
because the characters are very similar. But you need that need that direction change to keep it fresh. That's what people don't understand. That is the whole point in the show, and I think Shooty is going to come in and do something completely different again. And yeah, you're going to get people bitch about it, but I think it's going to be for us, the hardcore fans who will watch it no matter what. We're really going to enjoy it. I'm really enthusiastic about it. And just...
Yeah, like even though Peter Capaldi's like, I didn't like it straight away. And not just that, you're not going to like every episode in Doctor Who. So if you don't like one, you're still going to watch it. You go on to the next one. Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've watched the episode Love and Monsters since it actually aired. I haven't rewatched it, I think. And there's a couple episodes. I'll tell you which other one that I struggle with. And I can't remember the name of it. It's the one where the werewolves are in and the monks and that.
The werewolves and monks.
What's it called? Anyone?
What doctor was it?
David Tennant and Rose and Billy. It was
Oh
the
yeah,
one where
I know what
That's
that
the
is.
one with
we are
is
not
it
amused.
Victoria.
Yes.
Yeah.
The we are not amused thing. And do you know what? It was that killed it for me, because the episode concept is brilliant, but Rose just really winds me up in that episode. And you know when you just can't watch it. I don't like uncomfortable humor, if I'm honest with you. I struggle with that. So that one there, I will not rewatch it, even though it was a really good episode in a lot of respects.
Tooth and Claw.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. Tooth and Claw. Again, a brilliant concept for an episode.
Yeah. I'd say go on, Chris.
What's that?
What were you gonna say?
Nothing. I was just reading the messenger chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like for me, I probably said this numerous of times, but for me, what people probably will disagree with me on is I don't like the episode after, the episode after the Face the Raven, where the doctor's running around trying to get out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know that one.
I don't like that one, and the pure reason is it's the same. I don't like that one. It's the same. I don't like the recent one. The recent festive special one where they're in the Daleks and going in the time loop.
Yes.
Flux?
Yeah, no, not Flux.
No. The one where it's New Year's Day, isn't it?
Yeah. New Year's Day. Yeah.
New Year's Day.
The last one.
New Year's Eve.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they keep dying, and for me, those two episodes are very similar in ways. Because it's just going around in circles, and Doctor Who can be done in 5 minutes, like something like that. And for me, I guess that links my autism. I don't like things going in circles, and I just want them to get to the point.
It's more a frustration kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can see that. I don't feel that. With me, I'm more frustrated at people being embarrassed or being put in awkward situations. That's what gets me. But I can get that one totally. That anything with time loops. Is there any other time loop episodes that we can think of?
One with Martha.
What
was that? Oh no, wait, that wasn't it. Was that a time loop? The one with Martha and David Tennant and they went in this. There was it was the main story was from another character's point of view, and the beginning is like her friend and her go into this house and they find something, and then
Blink. You're talking about Blink with the Weeping Angels. Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess.
I suppose there is time loops but then that's the whole thing with the Weeping Angels. It kind of creates a new timeline or a new story, so it's not as frustrating as I can imagine just literally repeating the same thing over and over again.
Like, do you remember Journey to the Center of the TARDIS? They were kind of in a time loop, weren't they, going in circles, trying to find the console.
Yeah.
There was the weird sort of molten creatures that were actually them getting vaporized by something else, which was quite creepy that one in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
What else I was going to say was, does anyone else find it frustrating when there's a time reversal or there's a wiping of everything that happened in the whole episode? It doesn't happen just to Doctor Who. It happens in all sorts of sci-fi where it's like I've got myself in most of this whole storyline, and all the solution is to go back in time and wipe it. Martha and the Sound of Drums and all that one where basically the last 2 years didn't happen, but they can remember it, kind of thing. Those ones frustrate me.
Yeah. I don't like when people have their mind taken away, like their memories.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got Turn Left, which was with the alternate sort of timeline for Donna.
Yeah.
again, that was an episode you got emotionally involved in and then realised that it didn't actually happen as such. It kind of just was a faded memory, and that was it at the end. Which is really weird.
Yeah, that turn left. It's a when I watched it at the time, I was very confused what was going on in it, and I know the turn left. It was a very good episode, but I just didn't really understand at the time what was happening. Like with the whole scorpion, it didn't really make sense. You know, like you had the scorpion on the back, and it didn't. They didn't. I don't think they really explained what the scorpion was on the back. But I think like with the time loop thing, I think like it's different when you have like the journey to the center of the TARDIS. Things were actually happening. Like the only difference with the two I mentioned, they're actually in the same place. Like if like the festive one, if they actually went somewhere else rather than just in this like this garage, it looked like if they were somewhere else, like if they moved, it might have been a bit more entertaining. But I know some people do like the episode, which everyone's entitled to their opinions. But like, and I know some people's favorite episode is like that episode with Peter Capaldi going around that dial in the castle bit. But I don't know. It's just very dizzy. It makes you dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with so is there do you not like Love and Monsters then, Adam?
I think it's again to do with uncomfortable situations, and obviously you're seeing it from the viewpoint of Elton, and he's a bit awkward and a bit almost an embarrassing. You feel like secondhand embarrassment for the character. You're like, this is being cringeworthy in some respects, but I think the reason I relate to secondhand embarrassment is because of being so unaware of what I'm doing that may potentially be embarrassing. So I have a fear that I'm doing something embarrassing without realizing it. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
because I blunder into situations, being all enthusiastic, and then afterwards reliving it and having the cringe sort of feeling because I'm thinking I'm being judged for certain things. I'm then looking for that in other characters. So I struggle a lot with embarrassment and secondhand embarrassment, or third hand, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's what it is with that one, because he's such a dippy character in some respects. I don't know if that's the way of putting it. And you feel sorry for him, but you also feel embarrassed for him because of the way he is. But yeah, I don't know, something to do with that. Plus the monsters is terrible, even by Doctor Who standards. But it's funny.
The whole story was pretty not bad. I don't mind the episode, but the highlight of the episode for me is that they played Mr. Blue Sky in it. But but the thing which I've said many times, I've probably said on past episodes on this series, is it's all to do with common sense. Like a person goes missing and they don't normally go missing, and you trust a stranger's word, which that Absorbaloff Mr. K was. He was a stranger to them. They let him into their kind of meetings, and he said, "Oh, no, they've gone hospital. They had to go home. They didn't feel well." It's all the same kind of things, and maybe they were not. Well, they obviously weren't aware, but it's
too trusting.
Yeah, too trusting, which is very important in everyday life, not to trust everybody, because if that was the case, we'd all know each other's secrets or other people's business. But within that kind of story, it didn't make much sense, and it was silly, but it was funny at parts. But it was all kind of a jokery episode. But it's not one like you. I probably wouldn't go. It wouldn't be one I would go back to watch.
So, what's everyone's go-to episode that when you want to just watch it? Is there one that you'll watch over and over again? That would be a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mine personally would be Blink, just because the Weeping Angels are really good, but also scary at the same time, right?
Yeah, I made the mistake of showing my young'un that one when he was about 5-year-old, and then he didn't watch any Doctor Who for another sort of 3 years until he got back into it again.
Yeah. about you, Chris?
Mine would have to be the first episode of the 2005 lot, because that was my introduction to Doctor Who.
Rose.
Rose.
Yeah. I'll. Yeah. It's a good episode. I've watched it so many times, so probably more than every other episode as well. So it's a good one. Do you have any, Jack? Like one episode?
Yeah. Is it Partners in Crime?
Partners in Crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a very good one.
Yeah. I love that one.
I love Donna. I think she's a brilliant character, and obviously Catherine Tate's brilliant to play in the role. So yeah, it's a very good choice, that one.
Yeah. Mine would be I would say probably Rose, but my favourite episode is To Get on the Fireplace, so it would be that one too.
Good shout. Yeah.
Like I would always go back to it more because of the music in the episode. I love the story too, and how it is. But yeah, that's mine. It's all kind of Tennant era, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know what? I was going to say the one that I'd probably go to is, and I can't remember the name of the episode. It's the two-parter where Wilfred's there, and obviously you get basically David Tennant's last two episodes, isn't it?
Oh
The
yeah,
End of Time Part 1, The End
time.
of Time Part 2.
Yes. So that one there it's an easy watch. You can put that on in the background and you can enjoy it. And it's funny how most, obviously, for all that, David Tennant's probably my least favorite overall Doctor. He is one of the easiest watchers, if that makes sense. It's easiest to get into the episodes and just crack on with them. So obviously, even Blink is one of his as well, if you think about it. So I do think he's a very talented actor. He's David Tennant. I think we're very spoiled in a lot of respects by having him as the Doctor.
Yeah, he's done the most episodes with a New Who, hasn't he? So, I think they done well with him back then. But yeah, like like you say, it's very easy to get into watching like David Tennant, and then Matt Smith too as well. It's just, I think when you get to Peter Capaldi, it gets a bit harder. And then yeah. But yeah, Doctor Who, like we said the guy on the fireplace. I think Jack, you said the Partners in Crime. That's another good one. I think Alan, yours was Blink, wasn't it?
No, End of Time.
Ryan's Blink, and Chris, you was Blink as well, weren't you? No, you was Rose.
Right.
Yeah, and then Alan was End of Time. What Alan, is it part 1 or part 2 or just both?
You have to watch both of them, I think.
Both.
But do you know what? I love the bit where Wilfred and all the old people are running around trying to find him. I think that's so endearing, but also funny at the same time. It's brilliant.
The funny part about it, before he gets in the bus, is where he's waving with his hat on, and it's like, hey. I thought that I love that bit.
And again, John Sims is amazing as the Master. That sort of unhinged chaos, and there's been some amazing actors and actresses playing the Master. But I think that even it's the fact that he came back, played the character again, and did it even better than the previous one, and that was impressive.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of thought that might happen anyway from seeing him the last time when we saw a part of him like left anyway. So they kind of they did that well, like Doctor Who days back then, where they will give you a small detail for a future episode.
Well, even I'm going to go off on a tangent again, but from the was it called Planet of the Dead or something? The one with the bus where the
that's it. And
that's when she does the prophecy. He will knock 4 times, and then that ties into the End of Time one. So, and that there on its own could have just seemed like a bit of a standalone comedy almost episode, but it wasn't. It tied into everything else.
Yeah, and then you had the Waters of Mars, like the knocks at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And David was like, "There's only three. That's what you're getting." And then of course, what was really upsetting was when Wilfred was knocking. It was like 4 knocks, like inside the booth. And then he thinks it's, I don't know. I think the Doctor knew it was the Master, but when he was getting that kind of thing thrown at him. Yeah. Jack.
Yes.
Do you want to say a little bit about your Netflix series?
Yeah. So it's a Netflix original feature film. It's called I Used to Be Famous. It's about basically a singer that used to be in a boy band, and when the band broke up, he didn't find any success anymore. And one day he tries to get his music out by playing in a market, and a autistic teenager, while he's playing, the musician is playing the keyboard, the teenager who's autistic plays the drums on an actual metal bin to go and rhyme with the man, and they start a friendship based on their love for music, and they try to overcome their different obstacles and differences, and it's pretty cool. And I play as a minor character in the film, and I'm actually in the trailer. So yeah, that's pretty cool. If you want to look at my ugly face, it is the 43-second mark.
43 seconds. Yes, and it comes out. Is it September 16th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it right. But yeah, now we know when it's out, Jack. After all these podcasts we've done.
I know.
Yeah, we've got a release date. But yeah, I didn't know it was about like an autistic person as well. So that's good.
Yeah. There's more than there's more special needs actors as well, including me in the lead and some more in the drumming circle when the film gets to that point. And so
yeah, it's good because you don't get many like autistic kind of films nowadays. So it's good that like you've done that and that doing that. So I look forward to seeing it, and whoever else sees it, will they be in for a treat? I think. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, before we go, guys, does anyone else want to say any like final kind of words before we go?
Just noticed a message from Robin in the chat saying that the laptop died. Anyone wants to say on my behalf, it's been great to be a part of it. Meet everyone. So,
okay.
Leave that out.
Yeah. It's great. We had Robin for quite a while. Chris, like you want to say something?
I found me old. I don't know if anyone else had these. The Doctor Who Monster Invasion cards.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
And I found me old TARDIS box, and I've found that I had 2 of the signed cards.
Nice.
Of good old Matt Smith.
Nice.
And Miss Pond.
Awesome.
Hey.
I remember that. I forgot about them. I remember that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris. Is there anything else you want to say, like about like to finish up, Chris? Anything else?
No.
Okay. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think we've said everything. So I think it's up to you.
Yeah. Alan or Jack? Anything else?
No, just from my point of view, I think these are great. It's been nice over the course of the past few years, and obviously all the people that I've met through TikTok, through obviously YouTube, and all the group chats and so on. For me, I've not really had a friend group, and it's been great to sort of to meet all these cool people. A lot of you look at as celebrities because you're all out there creating and doing all these things. So for me, this is just like it's a great experience, and I sort of love getting involved. And I'll always put my hand up and say, yeah, I'll sign me up for that. So yeah, I think it's great for all of us as well to just know that there's people out there who are experiencing the same things as us and can relate to us.
Yeah, I think it's good fun. Like it kind of makes you get to do something, I guess. Like you meet new people, like especially in the Doctor Who autism community, ADHD community, all different communities. Even, but yeah, it'll be great to have you on again as well, Alan.
Definitely.
As for all of you, Jack, is there anything else you want to say?
Bit cliche, but it was very nice to meet everybody because I now meet probably more people due to my job, but I guess you could call it that. But I appreciate everybody sharing their thoughts and opinions and taking the time out to do this.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Jack. It's great, and I think we'll definitely be watching your Netflix series. In the coming well, not even that long now. So just count the days, I suppose. But yeah, well, thank you all. It's been great fun. And well, I say I hope you've enjoyed it. I guess you have because you wouldn't be here otherwise. But thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.